Welcome to Real Reviews. This week, we got the next installment in the Conjuring universe.
Ooh.
The Nun.
Yeah.
The highest grossing one so far, opening weekend, out of any of them, which is quite surprising to me.
Yeah, because the Conjuring 1 and 2
are fantastic.
So good. And then you have Annabelle Creations. And then we got The Nun, and then they're talking about a
Crooked Man. Annabelle 3 comes out next year.
Oh, just so much. And let me tell you, The Nun has been, I feel, a little hyped up. We saw her in The Conjuring 2. We didn't know what it was. It was just a spirit or a demon dressed like a nun. And this movie tells you where she comes from, her background. And it was a little disappointing.
It was. It was even more disappointing because you couldn't have a scarier atmosphere than this movie.
Yeah.
1952, in the middle of Romania, in a dark forest, surrounded by the creepiest graveyard.
In an abandoned castle.
Yeah, and basically an old castle with no lights. Yeah. Just like candle lights. That is like the recipe for success. So how the heck was this movie not scarier? Jump scares? Yes. Yeah. It got me twice. Yep. To the point where I actually shrieked, I think. I was like, oh! In one of them, which usually doesn't happen. I usually just jump. But like, I was not like terrified. I was never like...
No, not like The Conjuring. And
not like any of the other ones, really, which was very disappointing.
Where you have The Conjuring 1 and 2 and Annabelle 1 and 2, you don't see the scary stuff. You don't see the demon. There was a lot of demons and ghouls in this, and automatically when you see those scary things, it takes a lot of that stress out. So seeing that stuff, you're like, oh, it's not scary anymore because it feels a little hokey almost. Yeah. Because it's supposed to be based on true events, but Hollywood has to put their spin on things, and then all of a sudden you're just like, it takes you out of it. To compare this film with the rest of the Conjuring universe, if you will, this is definitely the black sheep of the family because it doesn't have that suspense thriller feel. It's bombarding you with jump scares, with the ghouls and like the dead animated bodies. And I feel that, like I said, you see that stuff and automatically you know it's coming, so it's not scary. Yeah, like, you don't let your imagination doesn't have to do anything because you're looking at it.
Exactly. Right? It's almost like they tried too hard to tie into this Conjuring universe when you can just let it be, you know? I think Annabelle Creation was a special circumstance when it tied so nicely in that it surprised me how well they did that. Yeah, and I think they tried a little bit too hard to do that with The Nun, where they should have just focused on making this movie about the nun and scarier than it could have been. Yeah,
like we had discussed, you have the story background where they're going to investigate like a suicide from a nun. She committed suicide at the start, so they send the Vatican sends a priest and then a sister who's not quite a nun yet to investigate. And I feel like this story, it was kind of like a cop-out in the sense that like they write it and they, like you said, it all fits perfectly together. Instead of doing maybe like a movie on the nun, like we see the backstory and where the demon comes from, but that's what the movie should have been about completely.
Maybe they'll do like Nun Creation, like they did Annabelle and Annabelle Creation. I was hoping for a lot more. Unfortunately, I didn't get it. Wasn't the worst thing I've ever seen, but I was rather disappointed. I'm going to give this one a 5.5. If it wasn't for the atmosphere and the way they filmed this movie and the scenery and everything, it would have gone a lot lower because they did a really good job with that kind of stuff.
Yeah, 6 for me. It's definitely middle of the pack, towards the bottom of the pack when it comes in regard to the whole Conjuring universe.
Especially for Conjuring movies, because the Conjuring movies are just good movies. Yeah. Not even good horror movies, they're just good movies. So to put this in the same category, kind of tough to do. Yeah. Go check out our Facebook page, give it a like to the review of The Nun. Leave a comment whether you saw it, whether you jumped in it, whether you didn't jump in it. If you do any one of those things, you're entered to win a gift certificate to Perkins Restaurant and Bakery.